So yeah, thank you so much, Pritesh, for joining in. Now I think we have good quorum to begin with. Quickly introducing, guys, first of all, to all of you that we have here today, thank you so much for taking out time. Today we have with us Pritesh, who's the founder and CEO of Juicy Chemistry and now Color Chemistry as well. So welcome to the webinar, Pritesh, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation for this.
Thanks a lot, Sonakshi. Always a pleasure catching up with you and the team. Thank you so much for having me on this series, and hope that I can share 2 cents of what we've learned over the past decade or so.
Absolutely, Pradesh. Everyone's looking forward to it. And yeah, let's begin, Pradesh. Tell us more. Although it needs no introduction, everyone in India knows what Juicy Chemistry is. But when it comes from founder himself, the vision, what vision that you hold when you started Juicy, and what's the decade-long vision that you have for the brand?
Yes, Sonakshi. So we started Juicy Chemistry in a very unconventional way back in 2014. I was actually coming off from a very difficult financial and professional place myself, with our family business of petrochemicals not being able to survive, too much of fluctuations in the global international crude oil prices and unorganized sector largely. So I was actually looking for a quick change of my directional approach to life. And that's when Juicy Chemistry actually happened to us. It was a happenstance when somebody tried to sell us an organic or a natural product in a supermarket during our regular weekly chores, and just sort of sheer boredom trying to strike a conversations with the salesperson. I and looked at the back of the ingredient list, and I could identify a lot of these ingredients from my petrochemical background business, which was into manufacturing of industrial automotive lubricants, greases, cutting oils, etc. So when I looked at some of the ingredients like artificial colors, fragrances, parabens, sulfates, fillers, I couldn't understand why the label in the front was screaming coconut, hibiscus, and neem, but at the back of the label, almost 75 to 80% of the ingredients were from a petrochemical origin, right? So I think the reason why that struck me was because Megha, my wife, also the co-founder at Juicy Chemistry, was looking to shift her choices to more natural or organic, quote unquote, uh, because of her PCOD condition. She was suffering from that condition since she was much younger, from her teen days, and always suffered from uh, as a condition. Skin and hair always gets troubled. Acne, hair fall, pigmentation, and things like that were constantly bothering her, and she always looked at dermats, etc., to find solutions. But those results were very short-lived, and at the same time brought along with them nuances of side effects that she had to deal with. So she was looking to go national and organic, and that's why that interest was there to see if Mega would some sort of use this. So it was not like I was getting interested in the product. It's just because Mega wanted to switch to something natural and organic. But when I looked at this ingredient list, I looked at Mega and I said, listen, I don't know why this product is called natural or organic. Is this something that you would be comfortable using? So she shrugged it off and said, listen, this is what is available. So I'll try it. But this incident sort of stuck with us, and we asked around family and friends to understand if others were also aware of what is going behind the ingredient list, right? Um, what not surprising, not many people actually knew or even bothered looking at the back of the list. So for us, it was more about, is it possible for us, for ourselves, to sort of switch to a more cleaner, more chemical free life to the maximum extent that we can do, right? So I started doing a bit of deep dive, understanding formulations, understanding reverse engineering a lot of these ingredients in the back of the list that I thought were problematic. And in the initial days, we narrowed it down with 5,000 rupees in our pocket in a 10 by 10 kitchen. We started experimenting how and why does these ingredients do they actually need to find a place in the formulations, right? So that was the motive and the goal with which we actually started But then things got really interesting for me. I've always enjoyed, experimenting. Manufacturing was my forte. So that gave me a lot of satisfaction of creating something which was really clean and natural. The tipping point for us was when we started doing small exhibitions, 500 rupees Sunday stalls. We used to do a lot of these Sunday flea markets, sell one product at a time, understand from the consumers, what they liked about the product, what they didn't like about the product, go back to the drawing table, make the corrections. I think one thing came out very clearly from that was whilst consumers wanted to switch to natural and organic, there were two problems largely that the consumer faced. When they looked at Ayurveda or natural, they one thing was very clear that this product is safe to use. So, ये ज़्यादा harm नहीं करेगा. But at the same time, they were also not very satisfied with the touch and the olfactory and the sensorial perceptions or the usage of these natural and organic products on a regular basis, because it didn't give them the feel of luxury or the feel of indulgence, or the um, aspirational aspect of cosmetics was not coming through these natural and organic products. Usually, when we spoke to them, they'll be like one sage sitting on the ground with a long beard, or a tree somewhere, or a green packaging. It was not very aspirational, or it was not
Yeah.
very user friendly as well. These two actually became, the problem statements for that I wanted to solve for. I wanted to solve, one is remove unnecessary standardized synthetics. Therefore, put an end to greenwashing in cosmetics, because that was one of the biggest problems that we were seeing. Because even baby care products,
Yeah.
so-called safe, sensitive, skin-friendly products, were not very different from what was available on the commercial shelf as well, right? So greenwashing was one thing that we wanted to solve for. The second problem that we wanted to solve for: how do we make natural and organic, user friendly and also efficacious? Because you're only coming to us to find a solution to a problem. If you're just natural and organic, if the product doesn't work, there is no repeatability for this product. People
Yeah.
probably buy it once, they like it, they use it, but we don't see
Yeah.
this business scaling. So I think that R&D, the understanding from the consumers of what was missing from the market, and the willingness to fill this gap that we saw, which was a very huge gap,
Yeah.
led us to start Juicy Chemistry back in 2014.
Awesome, Pritesh. This is super interesting. And, like what I started wondering when you talked about greenwashing and all those things is, there are set of consumers who are very particular about these things, and they know how to read a new product that they are willing to buy, go at the back, read the ingredients, etc. But for a product such as, and a brand such as Juicy Chemistry, you have been able to get your product adopted to mass. So how did you, like, how did you crack this of making mass audience also understand when they see natural and organic, and juicy truly stands for it? One way that comes to my mind is, of course, them testing the product, using it once, and then they figure out that, yeah, this is the best one. But other than that, like how you as a brand was able to fix that from content standpoint, from Instagram standpoint, or overall as a brand strategy standpoint, Pradesh.
Yeah, so actually we were very clear on our product offering. First of all, right, our product offering. So our product offering was natural and organic, but our larger, the point that we wanted to solve for was effectiveness through natural and organic. Uh,
Okay.
so we understood the chemistry behind um, you know working with pure, natural, potent ingredients, right? So our promise became efficacy, but our DNA remained organic. So we were
Okay.
very clear on the product proposition. First of all, our product proposition was, we will solve concerns such as acne, pigmentation, aging well, hair fall, dandruff. Largely, consumers actually fell into these buckets. So we put them in buckets and say, listen, where is it that consumers are facing the highest concerns? Go back to the drawing table, find the most potent, the purest, and the most performance driven ingredients. How do we understand the nuances of each of these, the physical and chemical properties of each of these ingredients, and incorporate them into a routine, which would be leave in, rinse off, or overnight, day use. So we wanted to understand. We understood, actually, we wanted to understand from the consumers as to how they would like how would they include an organic routine into their everyday lives, and how do they look at it, in that sense. So there was a lot of consumer research that we did earlier on in our days. Like I said, we used to stand behind these stalls. We started with very small local exhibitions, but then we got the courage to do larger exhibitions where the crowd used to go about 4,000, 5,000 walk-ins in a day. So that gave us a lot of data when we were speaking to the consumers to understand what was the problem statement for them, right? So understanding that and making sure that we were able to democratize organic to the most segment of the audience that we wanted to reach out to was going to be a game changer for us, because generally the idea was that quality and organic together is going to make it very expensive. But we were
Yeah.
very clear that we wanted to be in a very sweet spot where consumers would upgrade from whatever they were using today, uh, but be willing to try a product that was going to be extremely efficacious in nature, at the same time not cause any collateral damage to their skin and hair on application. So I think this sweet spot that we found ourselves into was the game changer for us.
Got it. And usually, Pritesh, like, how does it work? Because most of the brands, like you said, this becomes a very expensive category, where you get quality plus natural ingredients at one place. So, how were you able to crack this for mass audience, keeping in mind that I have to maintain top quality standards, but at the same time, it should be for the mass?
Yeah. So actually, I think this was a very difficult question that we asked ourselves first before the consumers were asking us this question. Because this was something that we wanted to use ourselves, we needed to be extremely sure about what we were doing as a brand. Like I said early in our conversation, that we are not from the field of beauty product as a category.
Yeah.
This was something that we learned, we researched, we deep dove into the subject, understanding reverse engineering formulations, making sure that we understood every nuance of the business before we could take it to the larger audience. So for us, making sure that the quality of the ingredients was at par with what results we wanted to achieve was imperative for us to achieve. And we understood this simple concept: garbage in is always going to be garbage out. And in the early stages of Juicy Chemistry, what used to happen was we reached out to a lot of our suppliers, saying, listen, we want to work with argan oil, we want to work with coconut, we want to work with almond oil, we want to work with nut butters, essential oils. But what used to happen is, whilst we used to reach out to these suppliers, we used to get material from them. We didn't have a clear visibility on what the supplier was giving us, first of all. Every time we actually got a consignment, it used to be different color, different smelling, different consistencies across different products that we were working with, right? We were working with lavender, we were working with orange, we were working with the nut butters and everything. So there was a lot of ingredients that we were working with, but there was no consistency in supply chain, right? So we didn't understand how to solve for this. That's when I started doing a little bit of research and said, listen, how do I get premium quality ingredients where I know exactly that this particular product has, been processed here, the quality of this product is this, if they can give me a certificate of analysis. But we were very early, to sort of ask these questions to the suppliers, because everybody was like, listen, this is not something that we can give. And you're asking us for organic certifications, etc. ये तो food में होता है यार, आप लोग cosmetics के लिए this
Right.
is not possible, right? So we were like, this is not going to work for us, because unless until we don't change the quality of ingredients that we are working with, we will never be able to attain the kind of consistency and efficacy that we want to deliver to our customers.
Yeah.
So that's when I started looking at certifications as an answer. And in US and Europe, there were a lot of certification bodies like USDA, Soil Association in the UK, Demeter, and other BDIH certifications in Germany, etc. There was no office here that was operating in India, but there was one small EcoCert office which was in Aurangabad that I found. I hunted that person down. And I said, "Listen, I am, I need to solve a problem, right? So
Yeah.
क्या करना है बोलो." So I said, I don't, I want to certify my products because I'm not understanding if the supplier is actually taking me for a ride, or the suppliers that I'm working with are taking me for a ride, because I don't know, I can't, there's no way to judge the quality that I'm getting. I want to ensure that it's, as pure as it can get, because the phytonutrients that I want to work with are only going to be available if the quality of the product is going to be great. So he said, listen, the only way that you can do is, certify your products completely. So it took us about 6 months to come to a decision कि यार हमको ये direction में जाना है, because the ask was very tall, Sonakshi. Was it was quite a Herculean task, and I can tell this openly on the group today that I almost gave up in 6 months, saying that yaar ye nahi ho payega. I mean, I don't know how I'll be managing 600 odd ingredients and making sure that I'm able to get to the bottom of every single ingredient, where it was grown, which farm, which farmer processed it, how it was processed. But we were very adamant also on the other hand, because of us not using standardized synthetic, the quality of the ingredients was going to be paramount for us. So we started doing it. Dhire dhire we said karenge. Once we got one product into the certification, our morale sort of boosted up. Where it took us 1 year to get one product in certification, the next 3 months we were able to certify the entire line of Juicy Chemistry products, to become India's first certified organic skin and personal care brand with over 100 products in certification by EcoCert in accordance to Cosmos standards. So that was a very big um, achievement for us internally, because now we knew that every single product that we were manufacturing had a clear traceability back to the soil. And not just that, in fact, what happened with our certification was it gave us all the management level checkpoints, uh, along with the added benefit of traceability. But it also meant that Juicy Chemistry became a completely soil to soil sustainable brand, because whatever we were taking from the organic farms, utilizing it in our manufacturing processes, making sure that our packaging material was in line with sustainable practices, and our manufacturing facility itself was certified organic. And at the same time, we were actually telling the consumer every single detail about the product. Like, for example, if our blood orange lip balm is 100% certified organic, which means the label will be able to uh, tell the customer, decipher every single ingredient of its origin and the percentage of organic ingredients and natural ingredients in every single product. So that kind of transparency, traceability, and trust was created for the brand. And we became organic not by claim, we became organic by compliance. That was the biggest difference for us and others who were claiming to be natural and organic.
Right. No, it's a very good learning, Pritesh. And I'm sure, most of us don't know, like, there is a compliance body who is in charge of taking care of certifying a product, whether it's organic or not. So it's a great learning. And that brings to my next question, Pritesh, which is, as a normal, as a generic consumer, and what, I understood from the conversation so far is the real success of Juicy today stands, and I would say huge contribution is because of your obsession towards efficacy, that it should definitely work is something that you figured out well before expanding the brand. So how did you make sure that this obsession also gets communicated with your brand communication that you are doing across channels and through your stores, and making sure that even mass audience is able to understand that organic comes with a compliance, and if it's compliant, that is where the real power of the product is. So tell us more on that, Pradesh.
Yeah, our initial days on actually was all about content creation. Back in 2014, 15, there were not many tools that were available as well. It was just Facebook that time. And we created a page. We didn't know what to name it actually at that time. So, it was those days when we started off, telling the consumers about, our learnings through the research and development that we were doing. A lot of peer reviewed journals, each and every ingredient deciphered with clear research papers, linking it to efficacy. And then for us, to find the right kind of source to ensure that, those phytonutrients, those very delicate vitamins, minerals, amino acids, the exact plant material that we want to use was available in those products was a very difficult task to sort of say in that many words, right? So we kept engaging with the audience, a lot of Q&As, a lot of live sessions, a lot of guests coming in from different industries, speaking about wellness and understanding of why organic and not why just natural and organic was a very big turning point for us in terms of creating awareness. Also at that time, there was a lot of organic love that we were also receiving from the audience because the product worked for us, and that time for us word of mouth was a very big weapon and still continues to be today. We have a retention rate of around 66 to 67% on a monthly basis, and that's only possible when the product
Yeah.
is able to deliver on its promise, right? Everything else aside, no matter what kind of marketing you are able to deliver, if the product doesn't work, it's only going to buy you the consumer's attention just once, right? Because you're actually using this on the most expensive real estate in the world, which is your face and hair, right? So
Yeah.
you don't want to mess, you don't want to be associated with a brand that doesn't work for you. So that was our initial effort to make sure that the consistency in the product is always paramount. Make sure that every single batch after batch after batch, it could be small sustain but artisanal, sustainable, but it also has to be consistent. So that was absolutely uncompromised at our end, and continues to be today. The other thing I think was that even today, Sonakshi, Mega actually heads this vertical for us internally, right? Speaking to the consumers. Even today, every single day before the first thing in the morning and the last thing she does at night is talk to consumers,
Yeah.
and this happens without a break, right? So constantly in touch with them to understand what's working, what's not working, if there is anything that we know that requires attention. So we are we understood the pulse of the audience that we were actually targeting. That really helped us create content,
Yeah.
create the and touch upon problems where the consumers were actually asking these questions to us, right? And then we understood that if two or three or four or five people are asking the same question, this must be a problem with so many people
Yeah.
that they need answers for. So we just used to pick up those questions, create content around it, talk around it, general wellness, general hygiene, general inputs on health, input on food, because we also understood that just topical applications is not going to work. uh, it's like it's just like food, right? I mean, no matter how much effort you put in the gym, but if you're not consistent with your food intakes, and you understand what needs to go in, and if you don't do it like clockwork, it's not going to show results, right? Don't stand in front of the mirror after hitting the gym for like a couple of hours and say six pack nahi aaya hai, right? So that's how skincare also is. So
Yeah.
consistency is something that we kept and kept telling the consumer that don't expect results overnight. Don't expect unrealistic expectations of beauty standards. Keep it realistic. Take one small steps towards, uh, and compounding has phenomenal value even in skincare. I think
Mm.
that content consistently when we did it, it resonated really well with the audience and continues to do today as well.
This is super interesting, Pritesh, because for brand advocacy to really work, you need to clearly understand your target audience very, very well. And like you said, then creating a very relevant content for them around wellness, around skincare, etc., is something that helped. But tell us one thing, Pritesh, when you started, did you have this, or even today, did you have this clarity in mind that for which age group of women is my product going to work, or did that change with time and the adoption spread across the age groups, or is it, some particular age group that has worked extremely well? Because as a brand, Juicy also started solving problems for Megha, your own wife, and that was, I'm probably, just taking a guess, that could be your sweet spot of age group while you started selling Juicy. But how did it, spanned out in last 10 years or so in the brand's journey?
Honestly, Sonakshi, there was no clarity on what we were, which target audience we were going after as such. I mean, we were very early. We were more from a B2B, sort of a background. So very very difficult for us earlier
Yeah.
on to sort of, and all these uh, um, nuances have actually come up in the last few years of with the competition going up, the CACs going
Yeah.
up, the competition becoming very stiff. There's a lot of content to be consumed, etc. This was not the case a little earlier on, so I think we got a good head start in that sense, because we were able to sort of clearly stand out from whatever else was there in the market at that point in time. But there was no clarity on directionally which approach we were taking. But generally, we saw that somewhere 24 to 44 was a very good age group for us, because that was an audience that also had some disposable income. They had they had the decision making power. They were the decision makers of the house, and they used to buy it for themselves, their family members as well. So I think initially when we started off, naturally that cohort sort of started doing well for us, but there was no specific content creation that was done just to target these set of
Okay.
audiences, right? We For us, in fact, our one of our proposition was that from zero onwards, to XXX age, we should be able to cater to everybody. That was the larger sense with which we actually came on, and we actually became India's first certified organic baby care range as well, with about 5 products in our portfolio. So right from day zero, day one, we were able to deliver for the new mothers, nursing mothers, bottom. We were able to deliver those promises as well. But then after that, we realized that the content creation needs to be more specific, more targeted, and that's when we started segregating our cohorts and started creating content for us. This learning came, unfortunately, with a lot of struggles and falls. We learned on the job.
Got it. Got it. Super interesting, Videsh. And now I see, people creating content specific to, particular, like people say we are creating content for Gen Z, we are creating content for, older age group, but it is like super interesting to understand it was not the case, a decade back. And that is how industry has evolved now. So Videsh, tell us more on, when a customer talks about Juicy, what's that one thing that they speak about? Is it like, just like you said, product really works, so that's something that comes to their mind, but what is that one thing that they associate Juicy Chemistry with as a brand?
I think if, like, we did this actually, and this is not my words, but we actually did this on Instagram some time back. And, we asked this to the consumer actually, because we are so close to the brand. Sometimes, you need to be sort of stepping away from
Yeah.
that business to, sort of get a bird's eye view of what's happening. So we actually asked this to the audience as to, what do you think, like, complete the sentence, right? I mean, Juicy Chemistry stands for what?
Yeah.
So one is, a couple of things are very consistent with the answers that we received. One was obviously quality, consistency, organic, right? So these three terms, like quality, organic, and consistency, in terms of results, were the three things that the consumer identified Juicy Chemistry the most with. Um, Juicy Chemistry is directly proportionate to organic, right? And organic for us basically means that the highest potency, the highest quality, the highest performance that we can deliver to the skin and hair on application, transfer those nutrients to the skin, thereby you get the maximum absorption
Yeah.
coming in from these plant nutrients. So that was three things that we were able to instill in the minds of the consumers over a period of time, consistently talking about what we were doing. And for us, we are not just organic by compliance. That's not what not that that's not our goal. Compliance is only a pathway to quality for us, right? Like I said, our promise is efficacy. Our DNA just remains organic. Um, for us, what we're trying to solve for is the consumers' skin and hair concerns is what we want to address. I think over a period of time, constantly doing this, understanding the physical and chemical properties of every single ingredient that we wanted to work with, has made a very huge difference, because the production actually remains at a very core, at the very core of our business, right? I mean, we are not a brand that outsources most of its products. We are very, very closely associated with product development, research, formulations. So that remains the very a very strong aspect of our business. So um,
Absolutely.
those
No,
three things are something that, we proudly carry as a badge.
yeah, and I think the biggest batch is, like you said, 66% people come back and make a purchase at Juicy. Like, the number speaks for itself, and compliance and talking about organic is one thing. People talking about Juicy as being, the first word that they come to their mind is organic. Beyond this, them actually coming back and making a purchase. So, any clear pattern, Pritesh, that you see that people who are coming back to make a purchase is around buying a new SKU, trying out a new SKU from Juicy, or is it more about also just basically the product that they have used is now like they want to buy it again? How does it work? And also the second question I have is around word of mouth. You said like people talk and associate Juicy with organic and efficacy. Like usually do they recommend it to their relatives? Do they recommend it to their friends? Have you seen any clear pattern of how advocacy is working, and what are you guys doing for it to become even more effective? Any strategies for our audience today?
So very clearly we are seeing that the consumer pattern is, see, when a new consumer, so new consumers average order value is much lower than your repeat average order value. Very clearly it's visible for us. When the consumer comes in, they want to try some low resistant products, right? Like for example, lip balm is a great hook product to get into, a rose water and aloe vera gel. These are all staples in skin and hair care, right? And what we communicate is so basically whatever is available in the market today, just compare the ingredient list to our ingredient list, compare the compliance that's there out there in the market that's available. It's for everybody to see on different marketplaces. Just compare that and compare our product. And we have clinical tests, we have before and afters, we have real people, real results everywhere across our website, our marketplaces for everybody to see. So there, when a consumer is actually looking at a 250 rupee, 300 rupee product, we say we'll charge you a 10 or 15% more premium on whatever is available out there, but we'll give you the best quality that money can buy. When that happens, the consumer is ready to, sort of give us their wallet share for hook products, which is, your staples in from the line of Juicy Chemistry. Once they've tried it, we are so confident that these products will surpass their expectation, because there is no equivalent available there in the market. uh, we are easily able to tell them, listen, we love you, you gave us a review. So what happens is when the consumer buys, in 7 to 10 days time, we send them across a referral review link, and we say, please rate us. And the minute that this star goes below 4, our yours go up, because we want to understand. We don't really bother about 4 or 5 stars. We want to understand why the consumer is not expected, or why we've not been able to live up to the expectation of the consumer, because 4 below is not acceptable for us. So we reach out to the consumer, understand what happened. Most likely it's some courier related,
Yeah.
some issue. But if there is a product issue, that means we will deep dive, understand what the concern was, give them the resolution for that product. Most of the times, it's about adapting to a new product as well. And once we handhold that customer for about a week or 10 days, we have a very good chance, 75% chance, that this consumer will convert to a loyal customer. So understanding that, and having a very hands-on approach to customer satisfaction is something that has really worked in our favor. That therefore it also tells the consumer that, listen, we are serious about the work that we do, and they can reach out to the brand anytime, anyhow, different mediums. They can book a consultation call with us. We are just a click away on WhatsApp. We are just one phone call away. You will always reach our customer support every time, every single time, without delays. Even on holidays, we are always available to reach out to the customer. So I think that trust building in the consumer is very important.
Yeah.
Once they know that this is a trustworthy brand, they are happy to sort of uh, pass on that positive experience to their friends and family. They say, listen, I used the product, it really worked for me, you should try it out. So that online has really worked well for us. We see this even offline as well, right? Juicy Chemistry has about 7 to 8 company owned, company operated outlets as well. So even in the retail, when the consumer comes, every time the consumer comes back, they come back with a friend, a couple of friends, they're buying together, they're shopping together. So we always take a feedback and referral form from them as well when they walk into our store. We want to understand, will they refer this product to a customer or not? Because that's the cheapest form of acquisition that we can ever get. Right, and it's a very strong recommendation that comes from a known person. So we don't take word of mouth lightly at all. In fact, that's been for the longest time been our only channel of acquisition. Post the funding came through, we were able to sort of diversify into different modes of acquisition. But till up until that time, it was the only mode of acquisition that we had. And we also, after 14 days, after 7 to 10 days of getting a review, if it's a 4 or 5 star review, then we take them through a referral journey, right? Will you refer to a family and friends? And we reward them handsomely as well when they get a positive referral coming in from our side. And now we're also able to, through tech innovations, we are now able to give them cash, not just cash back. We are able to deposit cash into their account as well. So that's a very strong incentive for somebody to sort of be the beacon of be the ambassador for the brand, because they are also getting equally rewarded for doing good for the consumer. So that sort of starts the chain for us as well. So that's the reason why referral and reviews work really fantastically for us.
Very interesting, Pradesh. And like you said, referrals and reviews, people talking about the brand in the online age, it's now people sharing content about the brand. So have you guys also, like invested into making sure that your fans, people who really love Juicy are also have started to create content around your products and brand?
Yeah, see, it's a difficult prospect to sort of crack. Whilst there are a lot of agencies out there that help create user-generated content, uh, consumers are generally shy in front of the camera. That's not their day job. So whilst they are really happy to give us like a star rating, or they're happy to give us a couple of lines every single time we reach out to them for a review, not many people are really content creators or very camera friendly as well. So
Yeah.
that is something that we are looking to solve for as we sort of hit scale. But then we are also able to do this through good work that agencies are doing to help us create really good quality user generated content. I think we leverage that very well as well. I mean, with launch of our color chemistry, which is our makeup line, which is again in the organic makeup segment, which we launched about 18 months back. We use this very well because makeup is all about visuals, right? It's all about, you cannot say it in as many words as you can see it and sort of understand what we are trying to say. So we leverage UGC over there extremely well.
Understood. And talk us more about the new brand that you've launched, Color Chemistry. How the journey was different, since you have a very good learning now from Juicy Chemistry. I'm sure basic things like setting up SKUs or processes, operational excellence would have been covered by your experience in past. But from a brand standpoint, it's new. The product line is new. So tell us on that, and how also you leverage your existing brand advocacy to empower the new brand and its GTM.
So actually, look, honestly, we failed miserably, I would say, not on the product innovation or product development. I think we've created some phenomenal products in color chemistry's line. The idea behind color chemistry was very simple, right? When because we were speaking so much to our consumers, and that still remains the very at the very core of what we do here at Juicy Chemistry, is to talk to consumers and understand concerns for beauty product category. I think one thing came out very clearly was that consumers were looking for something safe to use every single day. Right? There was a lot of working women out there. There was a lot of force from the women have joined, the workforce, and they wanted something which was very comfortable, especially when there were new mothers, joining back. They wanted something safe to use on an every single day basis. We
Yeah.
also heard a lot from the consumer saying that, listen, whilst there is a lot of international brands that are available, we don't want to use heavy makeup every single day. It's not like we're going to a wedding every day. We want something that's really comfortable and also at the same time very efficacious, in the sense that it should deliver what a makeup should deliver. uh, so we took this as a cue, and we also understood that a lot of these pigments that were available in the market from different brands that were out there, very harsh pigments that were also causing a lot of skin damage, like extreme eczema, dryness, irritation, inflammation to the skin, which leads to a lot of PIE, PIH, in terms of hyperpigmentation of the skin, was something that was a root cause of a lot of these problems as well. So I think we saw another wide gap and said, listen, we will launch a makeup line, but we don't want to be coming in as newbies into the business. We want to come from an area of expertise. Like with Juicy Chemistry, we don't like to leave anything to chance. We would like to get into the skin of the game, understand every single product, understand every single nuance of formulation. So
Yeah.
we did that aggressively, understanding formulations, understanding developed India's first certified organic range of makeup. But makeup behaved very differently than skin and hair care. Right? It's a very very different a different industry. What works in the north doesn't work in the south. What works in the south doesn't work in the west. West and east have very different preferences, color tones, skin shades to match. So there was a lot of investment that we didn't foresee that would be needed to make this brand successful. It's one thing to actually create a product, but it's not always the best product wins the market, right? It's also how much resource that you can give behind, how you can curate marketing, content, relevancy, saliency about the product. All of those things were very important. We didn't realize how difficult it was going to be to sort of build two brands simultaneously. But we learned on the job. But we would definitely had to do, if you had to do something differently,
Yeah.
we would not launch 8 or 9 categories together. In fact, it was the peak of COVID. There was a lot of disruption in supply chain. It so happened that everything started coming together. It was
Yeah.
supposed to launch one at a time, but it also happened that all the categories started landing up on the same time, and we were so disorganized with because ye kare wo kare, ye launch karna hai, wo launch karna hai, because we didn't get enough time to even hype up that one category that we wanted to hype and put our marketing money behind. So everything came together. So I think it's important to get into categories. It's great because you're solving consumers problems, and you're building good products for the consumer. But also from the business point of view, it was very important to actually take it one step at a time, um, build saliency around the product, and then invest monies into the next product category. It's not important to go too wide. Sometimes it's important to go deep rather than going too wide. So I think if we had to do this differently, I would say we'll go back and say we'll launch one category at a time, but we'll do justice to the category.
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. And are you guys also seeing audience overlap between both the brands?
30% to 35%, not so much.
Okay.
You would think that that would be a slightly more 50 plus 60 plus sort of a number, but it wasn't. To our surprise, it was only about 30 to 35%. So the market's very different. People are
Yeah.
looking at skincare very differently than they're looking at makeup.
Yeah, yeah. So, like last week I visited Sephora, and, it was like a single floor widespread, and the left side of it was all beauty products. and on the other side it was skincare. And I could see even, difference between how people are evaluating products they spend. And you would be the right person to, say that. But I saw, with skincare people were very particular about, a single problem statement. Let's say it was acne, or it was dry skin problem. Versus in beauty, they had this product shade, highlighted on their phone, and they were like, okay, I want this particular one. So they were not even ready to explore, different kind of things that they can try out on. So have you also experienced similar behavior with both the brands today?
No, absolutely. Look, like I said, it's a very different purchasing persona. Decision making is very different when it
Yeah.
comes to skin and hair compared to makeup. Uh, they are just completely two different categories, to be very honest. One
Yeah.
is a sort of instant gratification. You're looking at just shades. You're looking at how good this will look on me. Will this match my shade? How comfortable it is to wear. You don't have too many complexities of will this match my, will this suit me, or is this going to sort of break me out. That's not the concern when you have makeup as a consideration bucket. And with makeup, generally it should look natural. It shouldn't
Yeah.
look cakey. How long is it going to last? And is the color shade looking good on me, right? I mean, those are 3 or 4 points that you want to sort of address. With skin and hair care is very different, right? You want to understand your skin type first. You want to understand what results you're looking to go for. Is this going to suit me? What recommendations as my dermat or an influencer that I follow has given me? Where have I heard this brand? What content have I consumed to actually know that this is what I need to go for? um, because I don't want to experiment too much on my face, right, or my hair for that matter. So it's a very sticky category. Once you like the product, it's more often than not you will not change your preferences if it's worked for you. So only if you're sort of looking to change will you have these consideration buckets. So it's a very different persona that the audience, the same audience will behave very differently with skin and hair and makeup as a category.
Absolutely, Pritesh. Yeah, this absolutely makes sense, and I could totally relate as an audience. So, as an audience, I'm very new to understanding. Like, I do not usually apply makeup, and the reason of me going to Sephora was I should explore and see like if there's something that I should start putting on. So, from an audience standpoint, this absolutely makes a lot of sense, Pritesh. And here today we have a lot of questions already by audience for you. So I'll just go one by one and we'll cover that up. So Divya from Pink Moon has asked, how should I think about brand building and content creation versus increasing revenue by giving discounts? I feel this is a great question because even as a brand owner, this is, as a constant question that goes in mind, how much budget should I put in these two buckets? But over to you, Pritesh. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, I think Divya, you've touched a nerve, a very raw nerve for everybody, I think, and great question around this. So I'll give you an insider peek, right? I think Megha and I have known each other for about 22, 23 odd years, I guess, right from our high school days. And I think only thing we sort of quarrel about or fight about is this very question that you've just asked. Because look, there is no one right answer to this, to be very honest. It depends on the goals that you're looking to achieve. Whilst brand and content building is a constant, you cannot that doesn't ever take a back seat, right? That's because that's the core of your brand. That's what, if just think about it like this, right? If your brand was a person, how would they behave, right? What would be the characteristics of this brand? Like for example, Juicy Chemistry is very nerdy, right? We take very strong pride in being nerdy and downright scientific in everything that we want to approach. Right, so that's generally the way that the brand behaves. And then we talk about what plant nutrients we are going to be using, how this formulation is coming together. And we don't stop there. We go into the certification. We go into the depth of proving to the consumer that, listen, hey, consumer studies have been done about this product. These are the results that we've got before and after. So for us, it's a brand that's constantly talking about the same thing across different products, across different categories, horizontally and vertically, that we arrive at one single point, that is brand building, brand for us is directly proportionate to being able to deliver uh, the pure, potent, performance-driven products at every sort of single consideration bucket. So for you to, you have to think about it in the sense that, content creation, brand building is constant. It doesn't change. Discounts and offers and sales, I think, are unfortunately today a part of, the business of being direct to consumer today. Consumers are wired to actually, expect something from you as a brand. It's also built in India as one of the most toughest consumer markets as well. So when you're doing everything right as well, they still expect you to go that one step further and say, listen, discount kitna doge, right? So whilst that happens, you can use that discounting as a leverage in many, many different ways, right? And we failed at this multiple times, Divya. And I'm only telling you this from this position today because we've tried it, we've failed, we've understood that this is not the way to go, and we've done some course correction over a period of time to tell the consumer that, listen, if you there are many different ways to do it, right? You have periodic discounts and sales that happen sometime around this time of the year when there are some offers and discounts going, or seasonal changes depending on the businesses that you are into. You'll have 3 or 4 sort of seasons where you will actually do sales. But on the other side of the business, there are multiple ways to do this in terms of building this hand in hand. The perception of discount is more important than the discount itself, if I have to just put it in one sentence, right? So what we've done, what we've sort of cracked to a certain extent, is that we've told our customers that apart from your bigger days like right now during Diwali or Christmas or New Year's, etc., all the other days, like your business as usual days, if you are coming as a new customer, our UX and UI is mapped in such a way that when you're buying just one product, we'll give you a lower discount. But if you're upsizing yourself and giving us the opportunity to serve you with a bigger size of product, we'll give you a larger discount, right? So you mix and match the bundles in certain way that the business metrics don't go haywire. You are giving the perception of giving a value for money, depending on the positioning that you have of the brand, and still making sure that your content, your brand is not compromised in the entire process. I think that sweet spot is something that you'll have to sort of do, learn, sort of fail, and then sort of course correct. But eventually, it's important to keep building the top of the funnel without the expectation of consumers coming in and only looking for a discount on the brand. I think once you manage to do that, I think that's a sustainable business will come in. And of course, you can drive a lot more repeats. If you can drive a lot more repeats for your brand, that's going to be a game changer for you, because that way you will always not rely on acquiring new customers to constantly be doing your business. Your cash burns otherwise going to go too high. So any questions around that, happy to take.
Very, very insightful content, Pritesh, I would say, because it's always a question that completely consume everyone's mind, like how much money should I put in? And there's always a regret, I would say, after doing that, even though you took the best decision possible at that moment, but always there is a regret that maybe I could have spent a little bit more.
Because that funnel exhausts. See, like I'll give you an example. That's what's happening right now on Amazon. I'm not sure how many people are selling already on Amazon over here today. I'm sure most of you are. But you look at the sale period of Amazon this festive period, right? It's almost 30 days, and I see that the first 3 or 4 days were really great. But then what happened is the curve sort of stabilized back to BAU days, because that excitement of having a sale and discount is not there anymore, because it's a 30-day long sale. If you have it for about 3 or 4 days, the consumers actually look forward to that. And there's an element of excitement, there is an element of missing out, and there's a FOMO there. So you can leverage on that factor and sort of grow your sales whilst you're doing a lot of top of the funnel building. There's a lot of content that you're creating over a period of time, and then leverage these special days to sort of convert the non-converters.
Got it, Pritesh. Makes a lot of sense here. I think the other question we have from Ananya Vishwas, thank you so much for joining us today, Ananya. But the question that I see is, first one is, how do you manage to reach out to customers at scale? And second, I think, which is also a very good question, what percentage of issues are product related versus delivery related, because both factors jointly determine customer experience.
Sorry, I'll take the second question later. Sorry, I'll have to sort of didn't get the second part.
The
Could
second
you
part
please?
is around, like Pritesh, which you said, like usually when you check the NPS for your customers and, people who haven't given 4 or 5 stars, you tend to see that the issues were related to delivery,
Yeah,
orders,
yeah.
versus the product itself. So what's that percentage currently for the brand?
I think that's the high percentage, right? I mean, because we find, see, deliveries in India today, the delivery partners in India today are not very evolved, right? There's a lot that's happening on the ground as well. For them also, this is a scale that's hit them very, rapidly. So whilst, there is a lot of, partnerships on the ground that are going on with local delivery partners, issues with staffing and manpower shortage and everything. This is something that's bound to happen. One of the biggest things that we get is, listen, yeah, 4 5 days 6 days the parcel's not reached, and
Yeah.
that's majority of our concerns, that our customer service team is always firefighting for and on behalf of the consumer. For us, that's been we have a very robust customer support team. I think that's one thing that we were very clear in the very beginning as well, that customers shouldn't wait for long because they're already agitated, right? There is no point in us, adding to that aggravation. Our job as a customer support team should be to solve for their concern most efficiently, most quick turnaround time, so that they can, sort of move on to whatever else they were doing. uh, I think that is the highest problem that we actually solve for. Product issues we do get, and that forms about 2 or 3% of our entire customer support. And generally, it is to do with usage of the product, or incorporating it which time of the routine. How do I use it during morning or night? How much quantity to take, and those kind of questions, right? So that's something that we solve for. 1 or 2% of the consumers, might face some issues with product when it reaches them sort of damaged or broken during transit, because we all know how these courier people are handling our parcels across. So those kind of problems will be 1 or 2%. um, and I think the first part of the question was, can you repeat that, Sonakshi?
Yeah. How do you manage to reach out to customers at scale?
You mean once they have placed the order, or or just new customer acquisition as such,
I
or
think it's about
Uh,
um,
Hey, hi. I mean both. One is from the research perspective, and the second one would be post delivery, what their experience is
Yeah.
through customer service.
Post is, Ananya, I think, is very clear. I think, the customer should be able to reach out to you however, whenever, in whichever medium they feel comfortable with: email, SMS, WhatsApp, Instagram DMs, wherever. And I think Big plays a very huge role in collating all of these things in one place for us to, sort of be on top of things. As far as post purchase experience is concerned, I think we've automated those journeys extremely well, with the help of Sonakshi and team, to make sure that the customer is absolutely not left in the lurk once they've reached out to us. Right? For us, turnaround time is has to be less than 30 minutes. In all aspects of the business, our SLAs are very clear on that front. New customers, there are obviously, Ananya, there are many ways to do this. One is, of course, paid media, which has become extremely expensive now. What we are doing to sort of leverage, or sort of negate those costs, is do a lot of partnership, uh, content creation, like-minded brands. Like, for example, Juicy Chemistries did something with Two Brothers Organic Farms very recently. Before that, we did with Moco. We also we did something very recently with Sirohi. So these are all brands that are in the sustainable space. They are farming space, really good quality products. We did something with Fool very recently as well. So those kind of things, those kind of associations, reaching out to the right content creators, doing a lot of using their audience as a partnership, tags on Instagram and on Facebook, etc., to leverage their audience, because we know that they have a like-minded audience that will be resonating with our kind of products. That actually helps reach out to 1 million more consumers than your paid media would ever be able to get. So that leveraging of audiences by finding the right like-minded content creators, it could be brand or individual, really helps to make the brand more visible and also be um, relevant in the scheme of things that is today, which is very cluttered.
Absolutely. Hope that helped you, Ananya, answering your question. Thank you so much, Pritesh. And also, we are well above our time. So, thank you so much for extending it for us, Pritesh. It was super insightful. I got to learn a lot, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people here got to have learned a lot from you, Pritesh. Thank you so much for your time.
Our pleasure is absolutely mine, Sonakshi. Happy to answer any other questions that are there as well on mail or however. But all the best to everybody that's navigating the space. Hopefully, the session added some value to the listeners here. Thanks for having me today, Sonakshi.
Thank you so much, Pritesh, and have a great rest of your day.
Absolutely. You too. Take care.
Bye bye.